All right, on page 430 today, we are going to talk about rhombi and squares. And let's talk about the properties of a rhombus. Is a parallelogram. With four congruent sides. And we're going to say if a parallelogram is a rhombus, we've got some properties associated with these rhombus. So we're going to say diagonals are perpendicular. The symbol for perpendicular, if you don't remember, is the upside down T. All right, perpendicular means they intersect at 90 degrees. So the diagonals of a rhombus intersect at 90 degrees. Diagonals bisect opposite angles. So let's get a diagram of this. All right, so we're going to draw a rhombus here. And we'll call it ABCD. And if we add in these diagonals, we go from B to D with the diagonal, and A to C with the diagonal. All right, first rule said that the diagonals are perpendicular. So we've got a 90-degree angle in here. And we don't have one 90-degree angle, we have four 90-degree angles. Because vertical angles are always congruent. These adjacent angles here are a linear pair, so they sum 180. And if one of them is 90, then the other one has to be 90. All right, the other thing about this rhombus is that all these sides are congruent. And then these diagonals create more angles, right? So we've got angle 1 right here and angle 2, angle 3 and angle 4. So we're going to say that angle 1 is equal to angle 2. Angle 3 is equal to angle 4. All right, and then if we look at this other diagonal, we've got angle 5, 6, 7, and 8. All right, so angle 5 equals angle 6. And angle 7 is equal to angle 8. All right, and keep in mind here when we've got these diagonals that are perpendicular to each other, that means we've got 4 right triangles in this problem, don't we? All right, we've got 4 right triangles. So maybe think a little bit about the Pythagorean theorem when you're solving problems today. And you might need to use the Pythagorean theorem to find one of these side lengths. But with that information, let's look at the top of page 431, example 1. And the diagonals of rhombus FGHJ intersect at K. Use the given information to find each measure or value. Okay, so you're told that this shape is a rhombus. And let me try to get it on here. It's not a very good rhombus, but we'll pretend it's a good rhombus. FGHJ. And the diagonals intersect at K. If FJH is 82, degrees, find the measure of KHJ. Find the measure of angle KHJ. All right, FJH. If we start at F and we go down to J and then up here to H, we've got this angle. And that whole angle is 82 degrees. And you need, or we need, the measure of FJH. No, I'm sorry. We need the measure of KHJ. So KHJ. All right, look, we need this angle right here. If FJH is 82 degrees, aren't these two angles congruent? And if those two angles are congruent, they're each going to be half of 82. So this angle in here is 82 divided by 2, which is 41. All right, so if this angle in here is 41 degrees and diagonals are perpendicular, then this is a 90-degree angle. And we need KHJ. So the three angles inside this triangle need to sum 180. So KHJ is going to be equal to 180 minus 90 minus 41. So 49 degrees. All right, this angle right in here, 49 degrees. Second part of this question says if GH is x plus 9, all right, so G to H, x plus 9. J to H is 5x minus 2. JH, 5x minus 2. Find x. So if we have to find the value of x, well, the other thing we know about a rhombus is that all the sides are congruent. So if all the sides are congruent, then our x plus 9 is equal to 5x minus 2. All right, so let's subtract x from each side. And 9 equals 4x minus 2. Can add 2 to each side. So 11 equals 4x, and then divide both sides by 4. And 2.75 equals x. There's a guided question practice down there. Guided practice question. Refer to the rhombus. If fk equals 5, all right, so back to this rhombus. F to k is 5. F to g is 13. F to g is 13. Find kj. All right, we need k to j. So look, if f to k is 5 and f to g is 13, if f to g is 13, then f to j is also 13, isn't it? And we've got a right triangle in here. And we know one leg of the right triangle. And we need k to j. So we're going to use the Pythagorean theorem. And, whoops. So in this right triangle in here, the Pythagorean theorem states that for every right triangle, a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared. When a and b are the legs of the triangle and c is the hypotenuse. So in this case, our f to k can be a, so we're going to go 5 squared plus, we're looking for k to j, so 5 squared plus kj squared equals the hypotenuse squared. So we're going to subtract 5 squared from each side. So kj squared is equal to, in your calculator, you can type 13, the x squared button, minus 5x squared button, and hit equals. And we're left with 144. And now we need to eliminate this exponent, so we're going to find the square root of each side here. So the square root of kj squared is just kj, and it's equal to the square root of 144, which is 12. All right, so used our Pythagorean theorem to find a side length of one of these right triangles inside the rhombus. All right, there's one more question down there, and it states that if the measure of JFK, let's see, where's JFK? J to F to K. All right, so this angle is 6y plus 7. And the measure of KFG, this angle, is 9y minus 5. Find y. All right, so now we got to solve for y. And one of our properties of this rhombus was that these diagonals bisect angles, don't they? So what do we know about the 9y minus 5 and the 6y plus 7? Anybody? The 9y minus 5. If a diagonal bisects opposite angles, 9y minus 5 is equal to 6y plus 7. So again, let's just solve for y here. Gonna subtract 6y from each side. So 3y minus 5 is equal to 7. And add 5 to each side. So our 3y is going to equal 12. And divide by 3. So y is equal to 4. All right, anybody have any questions on any of that stuff? All right, let's look at page 431 down there on the bottom. And we've got a definition of a square. Is a parallelogram with 4 congruent sides and 4 90-degree angles. All congruent sides, all 90-degree angles. And we can draw a diagram if you need, but I think by this stage of your geometry career, everybody knows what a square looks like. Four congruent sides. Four 90-degree angles. Everybody all right with that? All right, then your practice for today is on page 435. Problems 1 and 2 and 7 through 12. And we'll just leave it at that for today. Another reminder, your quiz will be on Thursday this week. And let's write this down, please. Make a note to yourself. Print SEMX1 study guide. All right, print the SEMX1 study guide. It's on Focus. Someone told me this morning that the links to the videos weren't working. I'll get that fixed today. But go on Focus, find the SEMX1 study guide, and print it. It will make your preparation for the final exam much easier. Your quiz is going to be on Thursday this week, and Friday of this week is going to be the first day that we start the study guide for the semester exam. We're going to do the first part of the first video today, Friday. We'll do the second video on Monday, and you're going to have to watch the third video on your own time, okay? Because your exam's Tuesday morning, first thing. All right, so make sure you make a note to yourself somewhere, somehow, some way, a reminder to get that study guide printed and stapled and have it by Friday in class ready to go.